Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Elizabeth and I am an avid knitter, crocheter and love everything fibre related. It's nice to meet you. If you found your way here, thank you, hello. This will be my first knitting podcast. I have toyed with the idea of a knitting podcast for a little while. I know they're very popular, lots of people like to do them. And in the end, I decided it would be a really nice way for me to kind of sum up everything that I've done, kind of like a diary, and then I can go and look back at everything I've done rather than scrolling through Ravelry. So without further ado, I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm wearing, move on to finished objects, work in progress, and then a few yarn acquisitions that I have. I am currently wearing my Camisole number 5 by My Favourite Things Knitwear. It is knit in, I think it's 3 Bears 100% DK cotton. I believe this is discontinued, but I will put the correct information. Ice cream! Welcome back. So yeah, that is a little bit about what I'm wearing, and let me show you my finished objects and everything I have knit in the month of July. So the first piece I can't hold up properly and show you because this is a secret test knit, but I did knit a full cardigan this month. This is a secret test knit for an upcoming knitting book, and it is knit in 1 strand of Drops Daisy and one strand of Drops Kid Silk in the colour Copper. I think it's one of the nicest things that I've ever knit, and I will unveil it in a future podcast once the knitting book has been released. Next up is something unsummery, but I really wanted to learn the brioche stitch, and I thought what better way than to learn brioche? What better way to learn brioche than to just jump in with a brioche pattern? So this is the Flying Foxtail wrap by Stephen West. I didn't knit it as a wrap. The pattern calls for 2 repeats so that it will be twice as wide as this. I did not have the yarn required to knit a double width one, so I just went with 1 repeat and knit it as a scarf. This is knit with 2 different hand-dyed fingering weight sock yarns. I will put the names of them on the screen because I cannot remember off the top of my head what I used, but I am absolutely in love with how this turned out. On the right side, it is this beautiful variegated greens and blues, and I think that that is super, super pretty. It forms a very kind of subtle striping. On the wrong side, on the reverse side, I used a white with very subtle blues and greys varying throughout it, and I just think that it's really, really pretty. The 2 yarns together, they are lightweight and drapey. It's got a really lovely kind of squish to it, and I had a lot of fun making this pattern. I think if you are looking to get into brioche knitting, this pattern explained everything wonderfully. I didn't have to Google anything, but he does include his own kind of video tutorial links in the pattern if there is something that you're not sure how to do. The only thing I would say that I would have liked to see in this pattern is everything is written out, and I'm a chart girly. I find it so much easier to visualize my knitting when I can see a chart and I can at a glance know what I'm doing, and I can get the repeat much faster because I can visually see, okay, on the previous round there's a purl at this point and I know that I need to do the stitch 1 after the purl, and it's just so much easier for me to see. I would have really liked it if there was a chart for this pattern, so I actually ended up making my own chart, and after I had done the chart I was able to memorize the repeat and just knit without constantly checking the chart. So yeah, but this overall was a really, really fun knit. I can't wait to wear this in the winter. Yeah. My next knit is it's another ranunculus. In the last 18 months of my knitting, I have knit, this is now my 4th ranunculus, so I have plenty of ranunculi experience, but every time I knit it, I'm never quite fully satisfied, and this time round, I opted to knit it without the ribbing. I think I just don't like the ribbing at this gauge, but here is my finished ranunculus. When knitting this, I opted to skip the ribbing completely, and I just cast on and went straight into knitting the pattern. Then when I had finished, I went back with a crochet hook and just did a line of half double crochet around the top, and I think it kind of matches the kind of airy gauge that this has. I did the same around the armholes and as well at the bottom. I was worried that it would still really curl because this is stockinette, but honestly, it doesn't curl that much, especially not when I'm wearing it. So I think if I knit this again, which I probably will, everybody who's knit more than one ranunculus will probably knit another one. I might use the anti-curling stockinette technique where you knit your live stitch with kind of like 2 purl bumps behind to stop it from curling. But overall, I'm very happy with it. The only thing that I'm unhappy with about this is it's very, very difficult to weave in your ends at this kind of gauge when you're knitting with cotton. This is knit in Stenli Eco Love, which is 80% recycled cotton and 20% polyester. And even though everywhere I've woven in my ends, it's down the side seam, so it shouldn't be visible, I just feel like it's so visible. And no matter whether I try to use duplicate stitch or just go in through the purl bumps or knit in as I go, I feel like it's really, really obvious. And then I'm kind of self-conscious when I wear it, and I want to keep my arms at my sides to hide where I've woven in the ends, or I opt to wear it with a jacket, or so maybe my next ranunculus will be with a worsted weight yarn so that it's easier to, like, if I knit it as a sweater instead of a summer top, maybe I'll be happier. So knitting that took me 3 and a bit balls of Eco Love by Stenli, which is a Bulgarian brand. And with the remaining, I decided I really wanted to crochet something. I haven't crocheted very much since I learned to knit 18 months ago. So I decided to crochet myself a matching bandana or kerchief. It's a little bit wonky, but I haven't blocked it yet, so you know. This was so fun to make. I've never made anything like this at all. This is crocheted with linked double crochet, so it kind of creates a more solid fabric. And then it has this really nice kind of scalloped edging, which I think is really, really pretty. I am really, really happy with how this turned out, and I think maybe I might become a bandana girly and knit or crochet a few more bandanas, because I really, really like how this turned out. I love how fun it was to knit, and yeah, I'm really, really pleased with this. So my final finished object is Genevieve. This is my emotional support chicken. I knitted her on 2.25mm needles using leftover Opal sock yarn. It is so unbelievably cute. I absolutely love this. I can see why people are obsessed with them and why everybody who has knit a chicken seems to knit a lot of chickens. I actually have a video coming up where I talk about making this and where I make another bigger chicken, and kind of talk through the pattern and whether I think it is worth the hype and whether you should knit one too. So moving on to my works in progress, I will start with the least work in progressy one of them. This is my Stripe Hype sweater by Kutova Kika. As you can see, this is almost finished. I just need to finish the ribbing and cast it off. I'm calling it a work in progress because it is still on needles. These are my 3.5mm Addy Click bamboo needles. I just have the tiniest bit of ribbing left to do. I should just finish it. But yeah, I really, really love how this has turned out. It is knit with, the beige is Drops Daisy, and the blue is Patons Extra Fine Merino DK. And this is actually a yarn that I bought 10 years ago when I first learned to crochet. At this time in my life, I was still, I was only using acrylic yarns. That was my price point. You know, I was sort of 16 years old. I didn't have the money to spend on more luxurious fibers. So I knitted everything in acrylic, or crocheted, sorry. I crocheted everything in acrylic. And occasionally there would be yarn sales. I used to go to the haberdashery at the top of the House of Fraser, which is unfortunately no longer there. And you were able to buy kind of like the last few balls in a colour lot. So I got 5 balls for £2.45 each of this merino, and then I decided it was too nice to use, and it sat in that bag in a box for the last 10 years, and I decided I am going to knit something nice. I'm going to use that nice fibre, and I thought the best way to use that up would be stripes, and so I decided on the stripe hype sweater, and I'm so glad that I did. I absolutely love some of the finishing details, like the little pop of colour on the cuff. The only thing that I don't like about Kutafikika Patons is she doesn't specify the meterage of yarn that you need. She tells you how many balls of a specific yarn that you need. And, you know, if you ever have a moment of brain fog, or if you have dyscalculia or any kind of accessibility issues where you are not in the right mindset to be doing a whole load of maths, this can be like a real barrier for people. And I like things to be accessible. I like people to consider other people when they make decisions. And I just think working out how many meters and just putting it in your pattern is such a small thing for a designer to do, and the fact that Kutafikika doesn't do it kind of makes me sad. I ran out of memory. Okay, so moving on. My next work in progress. If you're not aware, Florence from Handmade by Florence is running a knit along where everybody knits Dale of Norway Olympic sweaters. These are the official sweaters of the Norwegian ski teams and the Norwegian Winter Olympics teams. And they are all just like so incredibly pretty. So this is the 1997 Trondheim sweater. I am knitting it in Drops Daisy. I have the colour beige, chocolate, fuchsia, black, and sky blue. Or is it ice blue? Ice blue. And I'm so happy with how this is turning out. My floats are probably the neatest floats I have ever done. It's still reasonably stretchy. I have finished the lower portion of the colour work, and I'm now working on the textured section. These patterns are knit as a tube and then steeked, where you then you knit bottom up, you knit the sleeves bottom up, and then insert them into the zone that you steeked. Steeking kind of scares me, but I have done it once successfully. I'm thinking that for a sweater this complicated, I'm going to use a crochet reinforced steek, and then probably sew over it as well with a machine. My next work in progress is one of my own designs. This is a summer t-shirt knitted in Drops Belle. This is a saddle shoulder construction with raglan shaping down the side, and I'm going to call it the Diamond Rain tee, because on the saddle shoulders and all the way down the sleeve, it has the same diamond motif that my Diamond Rain socks has. And I'm really pleased with how it's turning out. The sizing is exactly as I'd hoped. The general construction is working out exactly as hoped. So I'm very pleased with how this is turning out. When this is finished, I will finish writing up the pattern and get it sent out to some testers, and then maybe in a couple months you will see a pattern available for this. And my final work in progress, I always have, I'm holding this pouch like you know what's inside it. I always have a pair of socks on the go, and this is I call it my sock pouch. For some reason, to me, it's incredibly hilarious that I have Manon and Abraxos from Throne of Glass menacingly on a pouch that I like to put little socks in. So this is a hand-dyed hank of yarn that I have hand wound because I could not find my Swift. It is dyed by myself as a little fun project. Well, not by myself, my husband and I, we dyed it together. It was a little couples activity. and we dyed 2 hanks so I can make us matching socks. It's something that I'm just freestyling. I'm kind of knitting in the things that I think of when I think of them, and if I like it I may turn it into a pattern. It's knit with slip stitches, which I think really kind of highlights the variegation. Is that a word? I think it really highlights the different colours in the yarn. It has a little roll at the top, which I think is really cute, and just some ribbing. And I'm really pleased with how these are turning out. I think they're so cute. I love the colours. Kind of like, I'm not really sure what the colours are reminiscent of. I just said to my husband, pick some colours, and he went, orange, green, blue, and I was like, great, that's what we're working with. So that's what we've got. I'm really happy with how these are turning out. I think these might end up being some of my favourite socks. Not just because I like the pattern, but because I like the yarn so much. So that is all of my whips. All I have left is a few yarns. These are my yarn acquisitions. I recently went on a trip to England to visit some family, and there is a town called Shrewsbury, which is near Wales, I think, and they have a shop called Ewe Ply. And if you have never been to Ewe Ply, I strongly recommend it. I think they have 2 stores in the UK. I think there is also one in Wales. But I picked up a few really lovely hanks that I would like to show you. So the first one is not a hank, it's a ball type thing. But this is the Schoppel Admiral Hanf yarn. It is a 100-gram ball, and its contents are 65% virgin wool, 23% nylon, and 10% camphor. Not entirely sure, but it feels like it's going to be a very durable yarn. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily soft, but I also wouldn't say that it's necessarily scratchy. It's definitely wool. It kind of has that coarseness that wool has, especially virgin wool. But I think the colours are super, super pretty. It's this very kind of vibrant teal. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to knitting something up in this, probably socks. Yeah. Moving on, I have the Symphonie Tetra hand-dyed yarns, and I got 2 skeins in 2 different colorways, and I just think these are so pretty. These are some of the prettiest hand-dyed yarns that I've seen, and it's also some of the softest yarn I've ever felt in my life. It is 75% merino and 25% nylon. I think the colours are absolutely gorgeous, especially this one. This one is like midnight. And I kind of don't want to knit socks out of these. They're just so pretty and they are so soft. And they are definitely soft enough to be worn next to the skin. So I am contemplating knitting a bralette, or maybe a bra. I think these would be a great choice for the nurture bralette. They are just so soft and so pretty. I'm really going to have to do some thinking and soul searching to figure out what I'm going to make with these. Next up, I have some of Ewe Ply's own hanks. They spin and dye their own yarn. This is Leg Ends, or Legends. This is 100% British blue-faced Leicester. It is it 400 meters? No, it's 385 meters and 110 grams. The colorway is Juliet of the Balconies. And I just think this is such a pretty kind of springtime colorway. I love the different shades of green with like that little bit of pink going through. It really makes me think of like those red stemmed vines with the pretty green leaves. It is 100% wool, but it has a very tight twist to it, so I think that it would be very good for socks. They market it for socks. And yeah, this was absolutely worth the £18 that I spent on it. And finally, I have another Ewe Ply skein. This is such a pretty colorway. I love pastel colorways. This blue is borderline lilac. It's so incredibly pretty. I love the pink in it. and this is the Ewe Ply Corrie-Mo. It is 50% Corriedale and 50% British mohair. It has 400 meters to it, and the colorway is Law Knife. Yeah, this is really nice. It feels like it will be a little bit itchy if you are sensitive to mohair. The lady in the shop assured me that it does make incredible socks, and then proceeded to show me the socks that she was wearing made out of this. It also looks incredibly nice with brioche. She showed me another sample of the flying foxtail wrap, which is why I chose it. Are knitted in 2 skeins of this Corrie-Mo, held with, well, not held with, but the alternating brioche return was just a single strand of silk mohair. So yeah, I think I have lots of options with my yarn acquisitions. I'm very excited by them. Yeah, plenty to think about. Yeah, that is all from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to stick around, feel free to hit that subscribe button. It'd be really nice to see you again. And that is all from me. Have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful August, and I hope all of your knitting plans come into fruition. And this is getting really wishy-washy now. Anyway, bye!